Thank you. Hello. So the real purpose of the grant that we have received from the Health Leadership Academy is to enable the technology which we have been developing over the past 3 years to reach the proper target audience. So before I talk about that part of the project, which is critical, I just want to go back to the technology itself and what we're trying to do. So over the past 3 years, aided and abetted by an extremely capable team, highly motivated group of students and research assistants, we've been developing embedded technologies for people with Parkinson's disease, PD. By embedded, I mean technologies that they can use in their own homes. And these are technologies which are based on interaction with music and dance. We know from research over the past 20 years that music is extremely beneficial for people with PD. It's something to do with the metrical framework which allows people with PD who have particular problems with initiating movements to plan and execute the movements within a particular arc or trajectory, which is predictive. And it's the framework which music and dance creates which seems to be really, really helpful. So the project, it's okay to have that sort of idea, but as soon as you have this idea, right, we're going to make this technology which we can embed in people's homes, you realize that you need help. And the great thing about MAC as a campus is that there are people who are highly motivated and they've got really interesting, diverse sets of skills in different faculties. I'm in the faculty of humanities. I'm an associate of psychology, neuroscience, and behavior. And that gives me an access to an extremely interesting stream of well-educated students who have sort of statistics background and experimental knowledge. But you need to go to the engineering faculty, so we have a collaboration with Professor Mike Noseworthy in engineering. We have collaboration with Dr. Rick Paulseth in health sciences. And the purpose of these different collaborations is because an embedded technology requires these different elements to be brought together, whether it's programming skills, whether it's statistical skills, whether it's knowledge about music and the arts, to be encapsulated into a single application which can then be put into people's homes. The other thing about putting something into someone's home is that things like music and dance really, if you want someone with PD to do these, they tend to go to like a weekly class or once every 2 weeks, and that simply isn't enough to get the benefits of regular engagement with the music and dance. They have to do it every day. So the other idea of having this embedded technology is that it's something that they can do on a really regular basis so they can start to get the benefits of this type of intervention. The other really interesting thing about the technology which we developed is they have a motion sensing camera. So the motion sensing camera watches the user, and that allows the system to adapt. The system is based on dance avatars. So imagine that you're looking at a big TV screen and you have your own personalized dance avatar sitting in front of you, and they're doing certain types of dance movements and that you're mimicking them. Now, the thing about PD is that it's characterized by huge movement differentials. Some people who you hardly can tell have got the disease, with very minor symptoms, right through to people who are in wheelchairs. So if you're developing a technology, one size is not going to fit all. It has to be adaptive, and that's the purpose of the motion sensing cameras. It can watch the movement abilities of the user and adapt in real time the dance avatar to change the expressivity of the dance avatar. That's really the core of it. The other really interesting thing about motion sensing cameras is that not only can they be used to create this interactive technology, but they can also be used to record movement data. So we have ethics clearance to record the movement data of our users, to encrypt it and send it over the internet, which means that you then not only have an embedded technology, but you have an embedded research tool for doing longitudinal studies. And that's really critical for something like PD, because most studies with PD involve the patient, coming into the lab and doing some exercises, maybe some stride exercises. Certain clinical measures may be taken. But then they go back out into the community again, they go back home for another few weeks, and then they come back into the lab. When they come into the lab, they perform. So you don't get that really ecologically valid data from a day-to-day basis. So what the Health Leadership Academy grant has enabled us to do is that in 2016 we signed a title license agreement with Microsoft to be able to put this technology onto the Microsoft's global store, so people anywhere in the world with PD could download it and start to use it. But we don't know anything about business. We don't know anything about launching a health application. But obviously people in business school do. So this grant has enabled us to work with Marvin Ryder and other folks in the DeGroote School of Business to think carefully about how do you position this technology for the right audience? How do you get the message out there? What endorsements do you need? What, do you use social media? Do you use daytime TV? Do you use print media? Do you use the internet? What is the best strategy to make sure that people know and are educated about this? So rather than just dumping it on an app store somewhere and letting it sit there, and maybe it'll be discovered, maybe it won't be. How do you actually develop a proper health leadership strategy to make sure that people get to know about the technology?